We are now streaming. 1 minute till broadcast, 30 seconds till title sequence.
Happy Thursday, Durham, North Carolina. I'd like to call the Durham City Council work session to order for this, the 20th day of July, the year of 2023 at 1 p.m. We are here in chambers and like to welcome those who have joined us live here today, in person today, and we'd also like to welcome those who are joining us remotely as well. We are now officially back from our summer break with our first work session, and so we're going to go ahead and get started and ask our clerk to call the roll.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor?
I am present.
Mayor Pro Tem Middleton?
I'm here.
Councilmember Caballero?
Here.
Councilmember Freeman?
Here.
Councilmember Holsey-Hyman?
Here.
Councilmember Johnson has been granted an excused absence for today, and then Councilmember Williams.
I am present.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to move into our announcements from council, and I'll start with my left hand and see if we have any announcements on this end.
Just prayers for the family. I know that it's been a hard loss this summer with the young lady and the little girl who was killed. And I did want to thank all of our folks in the community for rallying around that family. That's a really difficult moment to have and experience. I also wanted to say that I am continuing to kind of wait on staff around some responses on the lead in the parks. I do want folks to know that it is a priority, and I thank everyone for their advocacy around it. That's all. Thank you.
Councilwoman.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to staff. Good to see you all after our break. I hope lots of you went away and got some time away, and to my colleagues as well, that everyone got to rest up. I know that we have lots of issues to work on this fall. And then the other thing I just wanted to say is thank you to the students who came to visit us this morning. For those, the mayor, Councilmember Freeman, Williams, and Dr. Holsey-Hyman and I were able to meet them this morning, and it's always excellent to see some of our youth, and they asked excellent questions, and it was a good way to start our work again with just some great kids. And thanks to the staff who helped us get that ready. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, good afternoon, ma'am. Good to see you, and good to see all of my colleagues. Welcome back from what I hope was a restful and rejuvenating break. Just wanted to shout everybody out and say it's a privilege to be back in chamber. I also want to send a shout out to our administration for a very, very strong hire of Christina Reardon officially as our budget director. So kudos and congratulations to her. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Turning to my right, the announcements. I'm sorry, to my left. Go ahead.
Again, good afternoon to our residents of Durham. It's good to be back to work for you. To my colleagues, I hope everybody had a rest. I surely tried to do that rest, even though I did teach through the summer and still teaching. But I also want to shout out all of our students who are going back to school. The year-round schools have begun. So I'm wishing them a productive year and getting ready for our students who will be going to traditional school coming up. So just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I slept and left town, and it felt great. So thank you, Dr. Hyman. Just welcome back. It's great to see everyone again, and shout out to the Strong Her, Together Her mentoring group that came this morning. to sit in our seats and take pictures with us and tour City Hall.
Thank you all. It is great to be back in this spot and continuing on with the business of the city. As you notice, Deputy City Manager Bertha Johnson is beside me today in the City Manager Page's place, who is now out on a break herself. So we hope that she's having a very restful break, and we're glad to see our Chief Deputy City Manager Johnson here beside us this afternoon. It's been a busy summer, so and it's going to be a busy fall. So let's get right to it, and we will see if, I think we do have some priority items from our City Manager's shop.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor O'Neill, Mayor Pro Tem Middleton, City Council members. The City Manager's Office has 3 priority items today for you. Agenda item 18, zoning map change, Fairhaven Walk. The Planned Development Residential, PDR, number was changed from 3.445 to 23.445 in the executive summary section of the agenda memo. Agenda item number 19, zoning map change, 602 North Hoover Road. The title of the proposed zoning in attachment A, zoning context map, was changed from industrial light, IL, to industrial light with development plan, which is ILD. Agenda item number 20, consolidated annexation, 631 and 633 Clayton Road. Consistency statement, attachment O, was attached. That's all I have for you today.
Thank you, Deputy City Manager Johnson. You have now heard the manager's priority items, and may I please have a motion for their approval?
So moved. Second.
Been moved by Councilman Williams, I think seconded by Councilwoman Freeman. All those in favor, if you would sign by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed have the same right. Hearing none, that vote passes unanimously. I now recognize our city attorney for any priority items she may have.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem Middleton, members of the council. It's good to see you again. The City Attorney's Office has 1 priority item this afternoon, and that is a request that the City Council hold a closed session at the conclusion of all regular business. We request closed session for attorney-client consultation concerning the handling or settlement in the following cases: Estate of Brooke Maynard versus City of Durham, and Daryl Dowdy versus City of Durham. I am happy to provide the motion at the end of the meeting if you would prefer to vote then.
We can do it now. That's
Okay.
fine.
So the motion is to hold a closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143, 318.11A3 for attorney-client consultation concerning the handling or settlement of Estate of Brooke Maynard versus City of Durham. That's 20 CVS 2645, filed in Durham County Superior Court. And Daryl Dowdy versus City of Durham, that is a Middle District of North Carolina case, filed in the federal court as 23 CV 133.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have we will now entertain a motion to hold a closed session at the end of the meeting, and after we vote on this one, we could vote also to approve the priority items, her priority items. So that motion has been made by Councilman Williams, seconded by Councilwoman Freeman. All those in favor, if you would sign by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed have the same right. Hearing none, that motion passes unanimously. Let us also entertain a motion to accept her priority items.
So moved.
Been moved by Councilwoman Freeman, seconded by Councilwoman Hosey Hyman. All those in favor, would you sign by saying aye? Aye. All those opposed have the same right. Hearing none, that motion passes. We did it kind of out of order, but that's okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We now turn to our clerk to see if she has any priority items this afternoon.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. I do have one item. It is the agenda item number 2, Durham Historic Preservation Commission mayoral appointment. The item has been requested to be referred back to the city clerk's office.
Thank you. And I'll just provide a little context. Ms. Faye Calhoun has a term that she can fill rather than replace her. We did not figure that out until later on in the process after Ms. Tabron had applied. But Ms. Calhoun, who now sits in that seat, has an unexpired term that she can fill, or the next, she's still eligible to fill a second term. Is that correct? So we're going to refer it back in order for her to continue in that space. So I will now entertain a motion to accept the city clerk's priority items.
So moved.
Second.
All right, that's been moved by Councilwoman Hosey Harmon, seconded by Councilwoman Freeman. All those in favor, if you would sign by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed have the same right. Hearing none, that motion passes unanimously, and we will now move to the business of our agenda. We will read the agenda in its entirety, starting with our administrative consent items. Item number 1 is the Durham Open Space and Trails Commission appointment. Item 2, the Durham Historic Preservation Commission mayoral appointment, which has been referred back. Item 3 is the Durham Affordable Housing Implementation Committee appointment. Item 4 is the Durham Affordable Housing Implementation Committee mayoral appointments. Number 5, May and June 2023 bid reports, and we're moving to departmental items. Item 6, 2024 City Council meeting schedule. Item 7, contract amendment number 1 for Durham Workforce Development Board, Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, NC Works Career Center operations with Eckerd Youth Alternatives, Inc. Number 8, contract amendment number 1 for Durham Workforce Development Board, Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, Adult and Dislocated Worker Program with Eckerd Youth Alternatives, Inc. Item 9 is the amendment to the contract with the FMRT Group LLC for the provision of police psychological services for the City of Durham Police Department.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to pull that, please.
Yes, sir. Item 10 is the contract for water quality web portal repair and maintenance for the stormwater quality program. 11, contract amendment number 2 to professional services contract SW-47D Maureen Road Bike and Pedestrian Improvements. Number 12, the municipal agreement with the North Carolina Department of Transportation for Durham Bike Facilities 2, TIP number BL-0028. 13 is the municipal agreement with the North Carolina Department of Transportation for Neighborhood Bike Routes 2, TIP number BL-0031. 14 is a municipal agreement with the North Carolina Department of Transportation for Horton Road Pedestrian Facilities, TIP number BL-0063. Item 15 is the consulting contract with Just Cities Collective, LLC for the development of a transportation equity action plan. Item 18 falls on the public hearings. Item 16 is a zoning map change, Brightleaf North. Item 17, consolidated annexation, Fletcher Crossing. Item 18, zoning map change, Fairhaven Walk. Item 19, zoning map change, 602 North Hoover Road. Item 20, consolidated annexation, 631 and 633 Clayton Road. Item 21, limited obligation bond series 2023. And we will turn also to our citizens matter, and we do have one person, and we have several people here in the audience to speak, but number 22 on the agenda is actually Ms. Gwyn Silver, who will be making comments on the public petition process. So, city manager, we have one, city manager, deputy city manager, we have one pulled item and no presentation, and that pulled item is item 9 by Mayor Pro Tem. Is that what you have?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
All right, we will now turn to Ms. Gwyn Silver, if she is here to speak to us in person today or on the internet. Do you have her listed on the internet? All right. Ms. Silver, you will have 3 minutes,
Yes.
and we are ready to listen, ma'am. We can
Yes.
hear you.
Okay, good afternoon, Mayor, council members, city manager, and city administrators. I'm Gwyn Silver at 302 Sapphire Drive, and I first want to thank Transportation Director Sean Egan for taking the time to look at street parking in Stonehill Estates. I have proposed some changes to the petition process so that it does not allow a rogue management company and one disgruntled homeowner to shut down one side of the street for personal reasons.
I know that I'm having difficulty understanding what she's saying.
Wow. I did unmute.
Yeah, we can hear you, it's just not coming in clear in here. And we did hear that part, so start again, Ms. Silver.
Okay, so maybe I should slow down. I did want to thank Transportation Director Sean Egan for time to look at street parking in Stonehill Estates. I proposed some changes to him about the petition process so that it does not allow a rogue management company and one disgruntled homeowner to shut down one side of the street for personal reasons. This process divided our HOA, divided homeowners, divided a husband and wife, and left residents not knowing anything about the no parking until our June 2023 annual meeting. And at that annual meeting, a board member admitted that after getting the required signatures, she stopped sharing the petition. The current process led to name calling, branding people as hostile, people lying and still lying about the process, a request for mediation through the state of North Carolina, hurt feelings, and tears. Here in the South, we call that a hot mess. Some of the changes that I'm proposing are to allow homeowners input before the process even starts. One way to do that is to coordinate with neighborhood improvement services to have the community strategists coordinate the meeting so that it is non-biased. Have the process be EMS or police driven rather than it being the whims of one person who wants to close the street for personal reasons, and to require more than 50% homeowner approval for the petition process. Nowhere in a democratic process does 50% of anybody get to have the final say. Now, I understand that the process in my community is already underway and it has to play out. However, I'm making this request for changes so that all of this does not happen to another community. The new process is going to ensure that everything is fair and that everything is equitable. Mayor O'Neill, I know you're leaving us, but I want to thank you for the outstanding work that you've done as our mayor. You came into your own and you have served Durham well. I wish you rest as you enter retirement again.
Thank you so much for your comments today. We will now turn to the others. We only have one other speaker, I believe, on the internet, so we'll go ahead and see if Ms. Jacqueline Wagstaff can speak to us now for 3 minutes.
Madam Mayor, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good afternoon, Madam Mayor, council members. Glad to see that you're back at work. Hope everybody is rested and ready to dig in and do the work that's needed for the city of Durham and the resident. But I'm bringing to you today a concern, and it's mostly a legal concern. And I'm assuming that if I publicly state my concern, someone will get back with me about it. I would like for the attorney to, at some point, provide me with documentation about ward residency for council members. I would like to know what is the requirement of residency status if you sit in a seat that you occupy as a ward member representing a ward, and what would be the legal process if you no longer reside in that ward. What would be the legal processes that has to be taken to either remove you or address the issue? Because at this point, there are citizens, and including myself, that have some serious concerns about the residency of one of our current seated board council members. And we would like to know what that process is and how soon can we get that information so that we can take the proper steps, because we believe that it is improper to hold a seat that requires that you, the member, have to live in the ward and to know that you don't live in the ward. And I'm not saying that person doesn't, but right now it is of grave concern that we believe that person doesn't live in the ward. And we would just like to get some clarity on it to understand, because as public officials, this is what some of the officials up there, I believe, don't understand, that when you become a public official, your whole life becomes a part of the public structure. Your social media, your residency, especially your residency. So if this person does not live in that ward, we would like to start the process of actually finding someone that can sit in that seat that actually represents that ward. So I'm requesting information from the attorney to give me clarity on what the ward system requires and what the process is if a person no longer lives in that ward system. And I thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments this afternoon. We will now turn to our citizens who have joined us in person. We'll start first with Mr. Jesse Huddleson, followed by Sherman O. Henson, followed by James Chavis Jr., and Ms. Jonetta Alston, in that order, and you will have 3 minutes apiece.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council members, City staff. Thank you for having me. My name is Jessie Huddleston. My pronouns are he, she, they, we. You can't get me wrong so long as you're being kind. And I'm here in the role as co-chair of Pride Durham NC. That is a part of the LGBTQ Center of Durham. The reason why I'm here is a particular request for some support and leadership within, I think, the city manager's office to help coordinate the way in which the city is comprehensively participating and engaging with Pride Durham NC, hoping that can happen with some order, with some strategy, and with some sustainability. For context, very quickly, in my role as co-chair, I've been engaging and liaising with several different partners from within the city, from city council all the way to folks who are working diligently within the city's offices. That's included folks in participatory budgeting that I just spoke to because they knew I was here, folks in Parks and Rec. Of course, we liaise with the police for inspections, the equity department, and the list goes on. And it's getting to a point now where it's clear that the city is engaged and supportive of this program happening. It happens every year. It's very likely that some of you might march in the parade or that some of our city units might table in our festival. But what feels unclear is who in place is in a position to actually help coordinate this, so we're not missing out on the times where people can actually connect and we can save resources, time, money, energy. And maybe that doesn't exist yet, right? Historically, NC Pride was functioning until 2018. They disbanded, and then Pride Durham NC came on the scene. Of course, by 2020, it's the pandemic. We've gone virtual. So it's only really been 5 years, a dynamic 5 years at that. And now it feels like a real opportunity to codify local institutions like the city, like the county, that can come together and help put this on in a way that I think can have major economic and political implications in the years to come. But that takes a lot of cooperation, that takes time. So we can cross that bridge when we get there, but at least for now, for September 2023, Saturday, September 23rd is Pride Durham NC, big day. For that day in September, I'm hopeful that there can be some step to meet with Deputy City Manager or others in the City Manager unit. Is it communications? I'm not sure. But I at least wanted to transparently bring it to all of you so that there's a clear expression of how much support that there is internally. I think folks are working hard, but it's just not clear where to go for now and also where to go for what we can plan out in the years to come.
Thank you so much. West End strong. Thanks, Jess. Another West Ender coming up. Mr. Henson.
Good afternoon. My name is Sherman Henson, and I came here today to talk about some problems that we're having with senior affordable housing. But it's no use to talk about the problems because we all know what the problems are. I'm going to talk about some solutions. We need a solution where these seniors who are living in these buildings, well, these companies have been given millions of dollars to take over these buildings. We need a committee or agenda some way, 24 hours, not on a recording, because most of the seniors don't like to talk on to recording, where they can call 24 hours. I have a problem here. My elevator is stuck. I have an appointment. I can't get there. There's sewage coming up out my bathtub. Send someone immediately. That's what we need. That's what we need. We need a committee. And these people who we're putting on these chairs, make sure that they're from Durham. Make sure they know this area. If you were born in Wautusa, Massachusetts, it's nothing you can tell us about Hayti. And then, too, I looked at our agenda today, all these things here. That's nothing concerning Chavis. Okay, don't go there, Sherman. But stay on. But anyway, we need to have those things as a solution. Somebody needs to do this immediately. It needs to have been done the other day. Am I right? Sure, you're right, Sherman O'Henson, because these things are important. I wasn't aware of this until I'm being evicted at the end of the month. I have nowhere to go. It costs to move. It costs to transfer electricity and utilities. And so what does senior citizen do? Of course, the solution is children, take care of your parents.
Mr. Chavis.
Good afternoon to y'all, Mayor, City Council members. This year has been a busy year, but this summer has been more busy than usual, because lies has been flowing left and right since this lead has been coming out in the open. And we, the people who is old like me, know about this lead. We was at the first meeting with Park and Recreation, and some of us told us then, but we haven't had another meeting. But they put out some information last week of how they're gonna do it, but they failed to get back in contact with us. Then I get the beating part is, I know y'all wondering why I gave y'all this information, and I want you to look at it, especially the extract part, because if you don't get a chance to look at it, you will have a copy. But I want you to look at what channel, the TV station put out this morning. And if you don't believe how my phone rings, just being a volunteer, I invite any of y'all that get paid to come out here with me. Because people called me this morning and I had something already scheduled to do. And I had to put that aside. And I had to change this morning what I was going to say to you all to prove what we've been saying. We, the community folks, are not the liars. It's the staff that y'all on hidden and hide and put in these positions. And look at Channel 5, they put it out, and put it that red part I circled. I circled that for a reason, because I got caught in mines. We've been saying this over and over to the city. We know how y'all conduct some of y'all undercover business and how y'all get over on the community. And Wade just brought out to our attention that we told him that last Thursday. He went to Duke and told them, don't y'all say nothing until we give you we or I, whatever you want to say about Park and Recreation, the right to put the information out to the community. Don't you tell the community unless I or we say so. So we are puppet on his screen, but we pay his salary. Okay? Now, how you think that make me feel? as being black and he's being white. You can call me racist. I don't care. I've been called more than that this week. Okay? But I'm not going to be afraid to continue to stand up to y'all and ask y'all. Those who want to come Saturday to the meeting, fine.
Thank you, Mr. Chavis.
All right. But please do something about this, because this is not the end, it's just the beginning.
Good afternoon,
Ms. Alston.
Mayor O'Neill, Mayor Pro Tem Middleton, and the rest of the council persons. My name is Jonetta Alston. I reside at 4900 North Roxborough, apartment 319, better known as the JFK Towers. There no longer is a picture of JFK hanging in the lobby. I guess it was a disrespect to have him in such a nasty place. No one should be living in that JFK Towers. It's a senior disabled living space, one-bedroom apartments. I think there's about 60% of the residents that live there do not have air. They give you one box fan when you tell them your air is out. My air isn't out, but the water from the air is backing up into my apartment onto the carpet, that the carpet is soaking wet. There's about 2 inches of mold sitting on the floor, on the carpet, on top of the carpet at that. I have health issues. I guess I didn't have to say that part. On behalf of that community, Millennium Housing out of Ohio are the owners of this building. Durham Housing Authority gave this company back in 2019 $19 million to rehab it when the troubleshooter went out when Global Foundation owned the building. Millennium purchased it from them along with all of the problems that was going on then. Problems such as the elevators don't work. It's 3 elevators. At all times, maybe 1 might work. The water system is bad. I got a note here on my door yesterday that says they're turning the water off on Friday, July the 21st, for several hours. This is on a weekly basis. This is not just for tomorrow. This is on a weekly basis. We go without water, period. Look, don't matter what your problem is. Don't matter if you need water to flush. It don't matter. You're not going to have water because they're going to turn it off in the whole building. Do the best you can. And trash. We have trash chutes on every floor. They're always blocked. So the older people who do the best they can to get around, take it to the chute. Can't get it in there, throw it outside the door. But the last thing, you have to do something. We're the ones that, the community, you stood on our backs to get where you are today. So therefore, you should send everybody out there to get it right, because obviously this company does not care. And I live with my daughter now, but I'm not moving until it's right.
Thank you, Ms. Alston. We now turn to item number 9, which I believe was pulled by, well, which I know was pulled by Mayor Pro Tem. Mayor Pro Tem, and item 9.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Madam Mayor, I'm sorry to interrupt. There's one speaker on the virtual queue with his hand up.
Okay, if you will go ahead and call that person to the forefront.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you, Mr. Roberson.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Mayor Judge O'Neill. First, let me say this. I haven't had a chance to do this. Congratulations on heeding the call to be mayor of Durham. This is another first for you. First female judge to be elected to Superior Court in Durham County. Now the first female mayor to be mayor of Durham. And I think it's the greatest thing that ever happened to Durham. What my issue was, my question was the issue about the investigation of City Council. Has that been concluded or is it ongoing?
I believe it is ongoing, Mr. Roberson, although I should not be interrupting you, but I noticed you paused, so I will tell you that it is ongoing from my understanding.
Okay, great. My other thing is, the firemen's pay. When I see that they make I saw they make $14 an hour as an individual that responds to the call for help, I just couldn't believe it. And I'm working at McDonald's. I make 17. So I'm saying to myself, why would they even deny them tier pay? I mean, I'm just curious, what provoked them not to give them their legitimate pay? Those 4. I just called to complain, that's all.
But thank you, Mr. Roberson. Appreciate your calling in.
You have a great day.
You too. Is there anyone else online that would like to be heard at this time? And I think I've gone through all of the cards, so we will now turn back to Mayor Pro Tem for pull item number 9, which is an amendment to the contract with the FMRT Group LLC for the provision of police psychological services for the City of Durham Police Department. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council. David Anthony, Assistant Chief, Administrative Services Bureau. I'm here to answer your questions.
Assistant Chief, thank you so much for being here. It's good to see you. And as always, we are incredibly grateful for you and the entire command staff and all of the men and women under your command that hold the line for us every day. I had a question about the psychological services, which is a profoundly good thing that we have this available for our officers. And let me preface this by saying I'm sure my questions are more about my level of comprehension rather than the clarity of the memo, which is often the case with me. But there's a line in the memo. It says, in July 2022, the city and the FMRT group executed a contract for the delivery of psychological services for members of the Durham Police Department. And we know this is not a new thing, but it says this included evaluations for members of specific teams within the department. So are our patrol officers required to go through evaluations, or is this a service that's available upon demand, or are you referred to it by a member of the command staff? Could you explain to us how it's integrated into our operations at the department?
Yes, sir. That's a great question. So the FMRT, we have a contract for FMRT that does provide testing and psychological services at will for officers and employees that do seek that. However, we do have certain circumstances to where there are things that we mandate. A critical incident that would occur, we would then send the employees after that critical incident, fit for duties, those type of things. So they are all able to access those resources, which is what that contract initially is for. However, we do have certain units within the department that we do, based upon the nature of their duties, we mandate that they do, I think it's semi-annual our quarterly training, and due to the nature of that, they have to participate in these services. The reason for the increase is based upon our recent reorganization, we have added more staff into those units, so we have increased our homicide units. We've also taken on the victim services units from community safety, so that now we are putting them in there due to the nature of how they're working side by side. So it is an increase of the personnel that we are mandating to go to those things.
Thank you so much for that. And that kind of anticipated my next question, because as I read the memo, there was a line that talked about the employees assigned to these units may be exposed to work stressors beyond that of other employees, which, I don't know if that's SWAT or whatever, hostage negotiations, but I was wondering, was there some type of critical incident or self-reporting that occasioned this increase? But to hear you, it's just, we got more people, so we need more money.
Yes, sir. And it's available. Any of they are mandated to do it because of their position, because we understand the stressors they go through. So we want to make sure that they get any information they're able to decompress through that as necessary. What this has done is just because we've added more people into those units, so that we want them to participate in those services as well.
Got you. No, that clears up what I had to ask. Thank you again so much. Good to see you.
Yes, sir. Good to see you.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll yield back.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
For being here today. All right, I think we have no presentations this afternoon, so we are now at our board and commissions report from our clerk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would start with the item number 2 was referred back. That was the mayoral appointment on the Historic Preservation Committee. The Durham Affordable Housing Implementation Committee appointment is Glenda Ange. The nominations. The 2 nominations to the Durham Affordable Housing Implementation Committee mayoral appointments are Courtney James and Prince R. Rivers. And then for the final nomination, the Durham Open Space and Trails Commission, there was not consensus. 3 council members had selected Connor M. Chappell, and the other 3 council members had requested re-advertisement of the position. And Councilmember Johnson has not voted because she's not in attendance today. I didn't know how you wanted to proceed.
The open space, I think we have.
Open Space and Trails Commission.
Had that been re-advertised? I noticed we just had the one person, but I'm not sure whether it had been re-advertised a number of times.
I would have to check on that.
Hi, good afternoon, Madam Mayor, Mayor O'Neill, members of City Council. Lola Rowland here with the City Clerk's office. I can answer that quick question. There was a previous appointment made to fill that seat by Mr. Stephen Cohn that council had previously nominated, but he resigned because he actually took a county seat and filled a county category on that. So I had to re-advertise that seat. So it's technically only been re-advertised once so far.
Madam Mayor, Madam Clerk, I'm fine with flipping. I think I voted for the applicant, and I'm fine with re-advertising.
Thank you. We have 4 votes to re-advertise that position. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Javier. We now turn to settle our agenda. I turn it to Deputy City Manager Johnson.
Madam Mayor, I have items 1 and 3 through 15 on consent, and GBA, public hearings, items 16 through 21.
Thank you. I'd like to entertain a motion to settle the agenda.
Move.
Second.
Been moved by Councilman Freeman, Councilman Williams, seconded by Councilwoman Freeman. All right, all those in favor, if you sign by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed have the same right. Hearing none, our agenda is settled. Now, are there any other items to come before the council before we adjourn to go into closed session? All right. Hearing none, we will adjourn at 1:43 on 2023 Bull City Strong. Shout out to the Watkins Family Circle reunion here in Durham, North Carolina for 51 years. All right.